You know, I've studied martial arts since 1984. And when I started, there was like this creed we had to say every day. We said it, the adults said it, everything. And it was all about, like honor and how you would act and how you wouldn't get into fights and things like that. I can't remember it specifically. But it does bring up the question. We don't really have that in Jiu-Jitsu. And the question is, does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu have the same honor? Do the people who train it have the same honor as those who do traditional martial arts? Guys, my name is Bill Jones. I'm the head instructor of Top Level Martial Arts. Beautiful downtown Cuyahoga Falls. Coming at you from the car again today. I'm a black belt under Master Pedro Sauer, and this is Professor's Corner. Honor, integrity, personal courage. These are the things we preach to our kids when at my school anyway. We talk a lot about it. Sometimes parents, they come in, they're single, and they just need a positive influence from and this isn't coming from me, I'm not trying to sound sexist. We get a number of moms who come in and say, I just need a positive male influence in my kids' lives. Sometimes single dads who need the exact opposite. And kids need to hear these things. They need to hear it from multiple role models and mentors. And the fact is, the kids listen to mentors more than they tend to listen to the parents, at least initially. Think about back when you were a kid, maybe not you specifically, but most people, they would listen to a teacher or to a coach or to something like that before they would listen to mom or dad, especially about things that they considered less important, I guess. So things like diet and nutrition, they were more likely to listen to something a coach told them than something their parents told them. And that's just the way it is. It's not fair, but it's the way it is. So, are we as jiu-jitsu practitioners beholden to some moral high ground based on where martial arts came from and how it developed? When I think about that, I think about all the people I've met since 1984. Right now, as I say this is 2019, so what is that, 35 years? So in 35 years, I've met a lot of scumbags in martial arts. Every martial art. Every single one. Even the ones where they had to sit there and say some sort of code at the beginning. And in the end, I don't really think it comes down to so much what the martial art preaches. The art itself simply is. And I suppose if it was preaching one way or the other, that there's a positive there. So I've never walked into a martial arts school where they're like, okay, I promise to beat up anybody who walks up to me and looks at me sideways. I promise to rape women and smack children. No, I've never heard that in a martial arts school. If anything, it's usually the other way, about being a good person and being honorable and treating others how they should be treated and things of that nature. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here is I don't feel that the martial art really plays as much a part of it as people like to think. Another example, there was a recent Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu professional match that went on. A guy fakes an injury and then someone at the side says something to him. This happened in Brazil. I don't even remember who the competitors were. Anyway, fakes an injury. At the time, he didn't know he was faking it. He was just grabbing at his leg or something, and everybody's like, what's going on? And then someone from the sidelines, like a fan or whatever, is making fun of him. And he gets up and he sprints at this guy and he starts a fight. And anyway, the fight goes on for a while. But it made it very clear that he was faking the injury. And what a dishonorable douchebag on so many levels, right? One, you're going to fake an injury at all just to get out of a match. Tap, just like anybody else. Don't be afraid to tap. We like to say no ego in jiu-jitsu. Jesus, that's the biggest farce I ever heard. I see more ego in jiu-jitsu than I have in most martial arts. And it stems from the fact that what we do is extremely effective. We're able to look at most other human beings and say, yeah, I can submit you, I can choke you unconscious almost at will. If you don't know jiu-jitsu, that's just the way it is. And people don't believe that until they experience it. But it's the truth. I've experienced it myself. So that's where that ego comes from. But, you know, like, we've got to keep that in check. So this guy, he fakes the injury, causes this big fight, this big ruckus, and it became this thing on multiple websites. It was being discussed. And one of my students comments on it. He's like, look, I don't care about fights at a combat sports events. You know, what I think is bad was this guy faked an injury. And I'm paraphrasing that. That isn't the exact words. And then, like, further down in the thread, someone's responding to my student saying, yeah, you're a deplorable human being, and you know, you shouldn't be training martial arts if you feel that way. You know, and then the guy has the audacity to write me and says, hey, this guy shouldn't be training, you shouldn't let him be in your school, you shouldn't be. And it's like, dude, what are you talking about, man? You have no idea who this guy even is. You know, this guy comes in every day, he's just trying to lose a little weight, get in shape, learn an amazing skill. And you're going to call him out because of one comment he made on the internet? You know, go fuck yourself. That's my opinion. Dude doesn't know who he's talking about, who he is, or anything, and that's a simple fact. And I even told the guy, I said, look, yeah, I think it's deplorable that this guy, you know, caused this ruckus at this BJJ event. But I think it's also deplorable that based on one comment that wasn't even anything, you're going to try to get some real life human being, mess with his life, get him kicked out of something that he actually absolutely loves to do. Like, who do you think you are to do that? You know, what kind of martial artist are you? You know, like, and that's this moral superiority. And here's the simple fact: most of it's based on nothing. You know, you've got chivalry, you've got bushido, right? You've got these things that kind of came down. And I know that the Valenci brothers have a code that they follow, and there's nothing wrong with having a code and saying, hey, you guys can't be living your lives like jerks. But you know, no one's perfect, and to sit there and tell people who are training that they have to act a certain way, above and beyond just decency and human beingness, right? Like, someone comes into my school and they're a child molester, or they're a rapist, or they you know, they're out there causing all kinds of problems all the time. I might ask them to leave. But, well, child molester, rapist, of course, but that's not even a might. They're not allowed in. But I don't want you. But, you know, if someone's out there causing trouble, you know, maybe this is the thing that's saving them. Maybe it's their outlet. Maybe it's the one thing that's causing them to not go crazy and just beat up everybody. Maybe they got a loud mouth or something, but yeah, you know, they're not harming anybody, and it's just because of jiu-jitsu. That's the one outlet they've got. You know, like, I don't know. I don't believe in holding people to some crazy code of conduct that doesn't make sense, that doesn't exist in the world we're in. People have opinions, people have beliefs. They're entitled to them. And they're entitled to them up to the point that they start to hurt someone else. So as long as they're not hurting other people, I'm cool with it. So do I think that jiu-jitsu has, you know, Brazilian jiu-jitsu has less morality than traditional martial arts? Absolutely not. I don't think any of them have a morality. I think they all are equal. They're all teaching combat. They're all teaching fighting. They're all teaching you how to harm another human being. Whether you like to say, oh, there's no first strike in karate, though. Yeah, that's true, except for when there is. Like, you see it all the time. Some guy's about to aggress you. Boom, you hit first. You take him out. Oh, well, his aggression was my first strike. Make whatever claims you want about that, but it doesn't change the fact that you threw a punch. You know, this is violence. We're talking about violence. And it should definitely have restraint. And when it's taught, it should definitely be taught within the realm, especially if you're talking self-defense. You need to talk a little bit about the law. You know, like, what's too far? You can't just put a rear naked choke on someone and never let go, right? Especially if it's just a fight. You know, if there's no weapon or, you know, life-threatening anything involved, two guys just having an argument, you arm drag him, you put him in a rear naked choke, you kill him for that, you're going to jail, dude. You're a piece of shit. You know, so you need to have restraint, of course. But these are things that come from just being a decent human. You know, I had a guy who actually used the self-defense in a real-life situation. A guy grabbed him from behind and he was like, hey, let go of me, man, let go of me. And he picked the guy up, and the guy hit his head and was hurt. He didn't die or anything. It's not one of those stories. But he felt bad about how bad he hurt this guy. He gave the guy a concussion. He ended up having to talk to the guy, and there were fortunately no police involved, anything like that. But like, he quit because of it, because he was like, man, what if I'd really messed that guy up? Like, I get where he's coming from. He's just trying to be a decent human, and he wants to have the restraint to go along with it. So, long story short, no martial arts, no anything has morality except for the person who's using it, right? That's how I look at all weapons, guns, all that kind of stuff. None of it has morality attached to it. It's just a weapon. It's just a tool. And it's the person who's attached to that tool that really matters. So my question is, what are you going to do? If you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you have to add some sort of restraint, some sort of level of morality to it. That's my take, guys. This is Professor's Corner. If you like what I've been saying, if you like what you're hearing, if you have comments, let me know below. What do you think? Is Jiu-Jitsu more moral or less moral than other martial arts? We got a couple traditional martial artists listening to this. What do you think? What's your perception? Maybe we're perceived as a bunch of thugs. I don't know. I'd love to hear it. I'll talk to you guys later. Smash that subscribe button.